You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Sword Art Online After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Sword Art Online After Show.
Hey there, AFTERBUZZ fans. We are here to talk about Sword Art Online today, Episode 9, The Blue-Eyed Demon. I'm your host, Megan Salinas, and joining me on the panel here today is Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies.
Liz Rishmawy.
Hey, guys. Good to be back.
Thank you.
Yay, you're okay.
I didn't die this time.
Woohoo! And Tauri Miller. Nice. We've also got Stephen Lemieux on the ones and twos. Hey, Stephen.
Hello.
AKA Booth Guy, who has the lovely opening playing for us. For those of you listening to the podcast, we actually get to. Well, it's still nice.
I know.
It's still very pretty.
It just makes you sad.
I gotta switch it up a bit, okay?
Yes. And although for the longest time, I thought the opening was a big spoiler for this episode, but it turns out that the opening lied. The opening lies to us a little bit in terms of what happens in this episode.
Right here's where it lies. Look at this.
Anyway.
I'm helping.
So how do you guys feel about this episode? Because, I mean, there was a lot going on in this episode. This kind of an adrenaline rush a little bit in terms of, like, it has been a long time since we've had a boss fight. Not since episode 2. So on the one hand, it's really cool to see another boss fight. And, you know, going from floor 1 to floor 74, it's kind of a long time to skip without having any other boss fights.
Yeah.
But overall, how do you guys feel?
Happy. No, I'm excited about it. There was a lot of action. I mean, considering like I said, I've watched the other episodes, and I feel like even the Dragon episode a couple of, 2 weeks back, I feel like it's kind of been lacking in adventure for me personally. I don't know, that seems weird. I guess it's because it's been so many weeks since, like, even the whole thing with the murder mystery and all that. But this was just more fun because we're reminding ourselves again, like, we are in a game. This is a game. This is what you do in a game.
And it was very interesting to see how game mechanics actually came into play this time around.
How do you feel?
Am I in a psychological session? How do you feel?
How does that make you feel, Tauri?
Well, actually, beyond, because we all know that I'm a big action guy.
Outstanding.
I am.
My gosh.
But I also was a big fan of all of there were a lot of feels in this episode, like the Klein stuff, the Asuna stuff, like, which we'll get into, so I'm not going to go into any details at the moment. But, like, I was super emotionally attached to everyone in this episode.
Even
I wanted a sandwich.
Especially him.
How about you, Katie? How do you feel?
I really like this episode, and then the last 5 minutes happened. So that's a really, really sour way to go out for me, because I really enjoyed all of the stuff that we see in this episode, except for that.
The last 5 minutes?
The last 5 minutes is enough to ruin it.
Right before we get introduced to another character and everything like that.
Yeah. And they talk and say things, and
I agree with you. There were things I kind of feel about this episode the same way I feel about the last episode. There are parts of it I absolutely adore, and then there are other things that kind of annoy me. And there have been many ominous comments on YouTube that kind of make me concerned about the progression of this series and how I'm going to feel about it. But for the most part,
from the beginning, we've had fans like, "Oh, great, you guys are doing it. You're gonna love it." Until it gets to the second season.
Like, you think it's bad now? Wait until we don't think it's bad
we
now.
think it's
We're just
great.
a little worried.
But these comments are none too reassuring. So, but in the meantime, we're just going to enjoy it. We're just going to enjoy what's supposed to be the heyday of this series. So, anyway,
I have to say, hey day.
Hey day.
Yeah, that's fun to say.
I've never said it that way
I don't
before.
know.
You will now.
I've been inside all day.
From now on, that's how it's said. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump right in. So we pick up, this episode picks up right where we left off last week with Asuna and Kirito walking into the boss room with their teleportation crystals at the ready. And at first they don't see anything. At first it's kind of dark and scary. And Kirito's about to go in a little bit further when all of a sudden we see the boss pop up. It's this big, giant, what did you call it last week?
It's a satyr.
It's a satyr with a snake for a tail.
Oh man, I didn't even notice that.
Wait, you noticed that?
Because the tail doesn't do anything. I wish that it had come into play, but it doesn't, and that makes me sad.
But it just looks scary.
It does.
And the name pops up in big bold letters. It's the Gleam Eyes, and it roars at them, and they turn tail and run out the door screaming, which is probably one of the funniest things I've seen in the series so far, is to see them both just turn tail and run.
Mm-hmm. I keep expecting it to cut to Monty Python. Run away! Run away!
Run away! But yeah, so they run out of the boss room, and they're sitting down when they know it's safe, and they're just like kind of thinking logically about what it's going to take down a boss like that. They're like, oh, we're going to need to keep switching out,
we're gonna
attack
need to put
teams.
tanks in the front, and we're going to need shield users, and we're going to need all sorts of stuff.
And that's when Asuna kind of makes an interesting observation. She's like, speaking of shields,
why don't you ever use one?
yeah, it's very interesting that you use a one-handed sword, but you don't ever use a shield. I don't ever use a shield because it'll slow me down. She's the lightning flash, and she has a rapier, so that relies on speed.
Other people don't use shields because they think they look dumb. Just like, way to get killed, guys. Way to get killed.
And she's looking at him with this, very scrutinizing look, and he's not looking her in the eye, and finally she just kind of shrugs it off and goes, I guess it's rude to pry about people and their skill sets and why they don't use certain things.
Right. She also brings back that he's never used the sword that Liz made him.
Yeah, that crappy sword.
Nice, shiny, what the hell? This nice, shiny dragon poop sword, and he never uses it.
Well, I half expected him to look at the camera and be like, because it makes me a badass. Ding.
Like he was just gonna wink to the camera,
right, yeah.
and his he'd smile and it would sparkle or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Well, and
an advertisement for toothpaste of some sort.
The scene was funny to me from especially since I had seen it before, because it was this whole writing mechanics thing, here are all these foreshadowing things, and also this is how tough the boss is, wink wink.
Important plot point, important plot point, important plot point. Wink, wink. Yeah. And then
you just said important plot point.
Oh my God, did I?
I'm not gonna let
plot point.
There you go.
If I could talk. Thank you for correcting me.
Speaking of which, then
everyone
they
in California and Washington is like,
important plot point. But speaking of important plot points, moving on, she decides to go ahead and pull out lunch since they're there already. And we find out that she's essentially a genius because she pulls up all these different menus that show exactly how much time and study she has devoted to being able to create this amazing food in Sword Art Online.
Well, it's you have to wonder, what else? I mean, if you think of their day-to-day life, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for the last, 2 years, there's a lot of time, and instead of just consistently battle,
which is what Kirito
upgrade
does.
your level, upgrade your level, there's got to be some other things to do. It's what are these people doing to actually pass the time in the game before you want to, just jump off the side of a bridge because it's getting boring. So, I mean, that was kind of cool, though. I like that, too.
Yeah, some people get themselves jobs. I guess Asuna got a hobby, and she's become really, really good at it. And I really liked this moment between the two of them because it was a very cutesy, coupley moment where he was like, you should totally sell these. You'll make a fortune. And she was, very flattered. You really think it's that good? And he's like, wait a minute. No, you can't sell it because then there's none left for me.
Yeah. She's like, really? Really?
But
I'll make you some too.
It was very sweet, and I think this is the one time Kirito's been rude, but it's been endearing to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's adorable.
Oh, you're not being a little sociopath. Aww.
You're just adorable. And I like that, you know, the series seems to be hinting at more and more that they're going to be together. And I liked seeing this moment because in moments like these, I can definitely see them being together and I can see that working. And I want to see them together. I officially ship it. Yay.
God help you.
But speaking of Klein, since you brought it up earlier, who should come in but Klein and his guild, the Foregoing Guild. Yes. Which actually, fun side note, according to Wikipedia, that the Foregoing means wind, forest, fire, and mountain, and it's a reference to the art of war. So, you know, fun fact that you'll never actually need to know for anything, but I thought that was interesting.
Klein
I thought of
does
the
not
band just
seem-
now.
Yeah, I know,
why.
right?
Earth, fire. What are they?
Earth, wind, and fire.
Earth, wind, and fire.
Dancing in September. I love that song.
I know you do.
Anyway, so
We're old.
Yeah, we are.
We're influenced by
that song
our
is
elders.
timeless.
So funny
Yes,
because we
it
just
is.
came to that conclusion in the Attack on Titan panel as well.
good.
We are all old, everyone.
Which is why, and I'm just going to foreshadow a little without getting things away, but speaking on their relationship, there is going to be a part of me in a couple episodes from now when we go more into their relationship where I'm going to be groaning and rolling my eyes because I am the age that I am and I'm no longer a 16-year-old watching
Yeah,
this.
that's the other thing to
Commenters,
keep
you
in
are
mind.
not allowed to say anything.
Keep in mind, they're
Don't
on it
we're
for-
unspoiled.
Yeah.
They're teenagers. Let them have their teenage romance. It's okay.
Right.
We were all young once. It was so. Anyway, so
Could be Twilight.
ugh,
Never
gross.
ever
Anyway.
say that word in
Yeah,
this
seriously.
room
Don't
again.
bring that to my
Stop
show.
bringing up Twilight,
Please.
even in hatred. Stop bringing it up. Anyway,
But speaking of the sandwiches,
speaking of the sandwiches, we want to talk to you really quick about Maria Menounos' new book, The Ever Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness. If you want to find some good recipes for yourself, the book is filled with them and simple how-tos on really good exercise tips. It's a really great way to help you if you want to change your lifestyle to be a little bit more healthy.
yeah, or even just to fit it into an already very, very busy lifestyle. So check it out. It's awesome, and it's colorful, and there's pretty pictures.
Lots and lots of pictures, which is very helpful for readers
Yes.
like me. Anyway, so going back, speaking of Klein, we have his guild coming in, and first of all, he's like, Kirito, you're okay. And I can't help but think of the way you put it a couple episodes ago when we were watching the Red-Nosed Reindeer episode, that Klein kind of feels like the other, you know, like he's dealing with the other woman, because this is the second time that he's caught Kirito in a party with someone else.
Yeah.
And he happens to notice, he's like, dude, you're with a girl.
I love that you remembered that I said that because I was like in a moment of fuzziness. Just what did I say?
She wouldn't stop
I
making
say
jokes
so
about
many
it.
things in every day, and that I never shut up. And I'm so happy you remembered that.
I remembered it because I thought it was hilarious.
It's true though. It's so true. It's the same thing in this scenario because he just goes up and they're like, eh? Like I mean,
And
in
he's
the
like,
Japanese version, they're like
dude,
that.
you know, I thought you were a solo player up until the point when he sees who Kirito is with,
Yeah.
and then he's frozen.
Yeah.
It was hilarious to see.
Dude, are you
and
lagging,
Yeah.
bro?
And
Bro.
it was just great because Kirito's like, I mean, I thought you guys had talked before because, you know, during boss fight meetings, but let me go ahead and properly introduce you. This is Klein, and this is Asuna. And at that point, Klein can't make eye contact with her. He just looks down at the ground, sticks out his hand to shake it. And he's like, hi, my name is Klein. I'm 24. I'm single.
Like long walks on the beach.
And before he can, you know, list off, you know, long walks on the beach, Kirito punches him. And I don't even think that Kirito really understood even why he did it. But it was just something because he cares for Asuna that he just kind of did out of instinct.
I feel like
This isn't the first time that Kirito has sucker punched Klein when Klein starts going on the girl tangent.
In general, though,
Not
in
the first
most
time.
anime, though, I feel like that's even if it is definitely done because Kirito has feelings for Asuna.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like most anime, as soon as the one dude starts just being stupid gaga over a girl, there's going to be that one character that keeps them in check, regardless if that character likes them or not.
That's also
Yeah.
true.
So
like if you ever try to kick your friend underneath the table to be like, shut up.
oh my god, that happened to me one time. But my friend was trying to kick my other friend.
It happened
So your
to me
life
too.
is a sitcom.
It happened to me too, only my friend didn't understand why I was kicking her. She was like, why are you doing that? Really, really loud. It It was pretty terrible. Yeah. But anyway, so
why do you keep winking at me behind the person's back that I'm talking to?
Pretty much. But all of a sudden, Klein's group,
how winking
which
works.
I'm really glad to see that, the characters that are introduced in the first episode as Klein's friends, I'm really glad to see that they're still alive.
Yeah.
I wish there's a part of me that wishes that they would go more into, I don't know, like I feel like Klein's so cool. I hope somewhere in the series that he has like his own episode based on him and his life.
I would love that too.
Because he's so funny.
Honestly, all the side characters that they've introduced, and that's something else I really liked about this episode too, is that even if it's just very briefly, we have a lot of these different characters that have been set up in these one-off episodes, and it's nice to see them all in the same episode, even if they only interact with each other very briefly. But
and keep in mind that this was a murder game. People are dying, lives on the line, all sorts of fun stuff. Klein came into this game not having a clue.
Klein came to this game expecting pizza to be waiting for him outside.
when he logged off,
And a ginger ale.
He came into
never
this
have that
game
pizza.
utterly
Curry.
clueless. And odds are that his friends were also utterly
Yes.
clueless. It was soy sauce and mayonnaise, I believe.
Ugh.
And he's still alive. He's still alive. All of his friends are still alive. That's the story I want to be
But
watching.
take into consideration,
That's the story I want to watch.
he had been in guilds before in other games. It was just a matter of getting adjusted to a program that actually puts you into the game.
Yeah,
True. So
Yeah.
I mean, they do have that kind of skills and sets. They're not just newbies. They're not noobs. They're actual gamers. You know.
They're not Sachi.
Right. Oh, come on.
They're still alive.
I literally just stopped crying about that.
Start again.
Literally, because you weren't
Yes.
crying this whole time.
Yes,
You
because
really know what
there
literally
was a
means?
flash
Crying on
of
the
Sachi
inside.
in this episode.
Note here, huge success.
Still alive.
GLaDOS. GLaDOS in Florida. Thank you, Steven.
We're going to be here for a while, guys.
I muted her mic so we don't have to hear that.
If we wait for her to finish, we'll never get going.
All right.
Anyway,
Fine, I'm
so
fine.
Klein's guild looks like they're jumping to his aid, and it looks like they're going to rush Kirito, when all of a sudden their faces change completely into fanboy mode, and they go, "You're really Asuna?" and Kirito has to hold them back like they're a set of groupies for her.
It's okay. They're really good guys.
Yeah, and Klein steps on his foot and goes, now we're even. But dude, like, are you holding out on me because you get to, you've been partnering up with a really pretty girl.
You were just about to say partying.
Because they're in a party together.
Partying. My God.
I'm all
What is
over
your
the
life
place
like
this
outside this
Get it together,
podcast?
It's
baby.
very
Weekend
boring.
is not over yet.
It's very boring. I do my homework. That's it.
She does.
Anyway.
I can vouch.
Anyway, moving on.
Sorry, it's just funny. You're like, let's stop it, okay?
Can
Don't
we stop
tell them.
talking about what may or may not be happening in my personal life? So, anyway, moving on. All of a sudden, the kind of merriment ceases when the Aincrad Liberation Army decides to literally march onto the scene. And their leader, Kobats, tells everybody to take 5, and the troops just collapse. They are exhausted. And we find out through a little bit of exposition that this is a group who, they're the largest guild in the game, but they are not, they focus more on quantity of players as opposed to the quality of players. They think that by having the largest numbers, they're going to be able to clear the game, when that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Right.
They also said that they were the guild that runs the first floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of all the floors to run, that's the one you want to be in charge of.
Well,
Yeah.
in the not graphic novel,
In the light
novel, they are essentially policing all the lower floors, making sure all the crime is kept to a minimum.
Yeah.
So that's kind of their role, and also the numbers thing is because they were decimated on the 25th floor, so they're just trying to get as many people back into it as they can.
Yeah. They mentioned
know.
that, though, didn't they? And,
Yes,
didn't
they
Asuna
mentioned it,
and-
yeah.
Yeah. So.
But which makes sense then, because then it's I wonder, do they have a headquarters? Is this where the damn prison is? Is this where the prison
you know what?
is?
They're probably the ones who run the prison. Yeah.
Well, actually, Steven's read the books, and you've read the books. Have they ever mentioned anything about a prison or where that is?
Wait, what?
The prison or something? They're like, we're going to take you to prison.
When they take people like Rosalia off to prison.
Titan's hand.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know how far are you in the show, but yeah, it's on the first floor in the
Okay.
It's in the it's like
It's like it's in the
there's
first floor.
catacombs on the first floor.
These
Yeah.
okay. These
it's the
people
negative
then
first floor.
are these people then are the people who are in charge of the of policing things and in charge of the prison. That makes sense.
Right.
Okay, we get a little bit more information about
they're
this group.
basically people who like created a subsect on the in their own political system on the first floor, because the show doesn't really go into it too much. They're basically just the people who stayed on the first floor, and then they like started policing things on the first floor, and that's kind of their headquarters.
Okay.
That they transfer out of, but it's like a guild that is basically a police state guild.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that because they just sound like they have their own little area and they're like, we'll be in charge here.
You'll
But-
find out more in the next few episodes.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
So
I'm
then
not
they
liking-
wind up on floor 74 because reasons? Question
Well,
mark?
because they've already been cleared by the assault team.
Yeah, they
you
even
know.
said, like, have you cleared it up ahead?
Yeah, and so because, Kirito and Asuna have essentially cleared this entire area
You're welcome.
and made it to the boss room, gone through and mapped the whole thing. They're like, "Okay, great. You have the map to the boss room. You've cleared the way for us. Hand over the map, please."
Yeah.
And
there was no
Klein,
please about it.
Yeah, it was,
There was
all
no
right,
please.
hand over the map.
Kobats
Right.
is a jerk.
Well,
He's like
I-
every drill sergeant stereotype that you hate.
I do have to like correct you guys on one thing though. It's not they're not only there because they cleared the way. They're there because they are front line. They're adept at the front line. They used to be on the front lines because they're geared for it. They just leveled more slowly on safer things. So like they take things down as a group as opposed to like other people who'd go to the front lines to level.
Regardless, they are not in any shape right now to be taking on a boss because
Right.
they're so exhausted.
Yeah.
Even if they technically have the levels for it, they don't look like they have the numbers necessary for this boss
Which
in
is
particular.
exactly what Kirito and Asuna and all of them were saying. Like, are you kidding me? You're about to take this guy head on. Like, look at your troops. Like, they're exhausted. They look like their death worn over. Won over.
Warmed over.
Oh my God, I've been saying it wrong this entire time.
It's like
I
it's
feel a little
dead,
bit-
and then you reheated it, but it's still dead.
I feel a little
That's
bit
the
better
thing.
about my word slips.
But it was
earlier
death.
this
Like, well, death won over made sense to me because it's like death won. You are dead. Like
Well,
you look like
technically,
crap.
No,
Death
that's
won
what
over would
Thanos
mean that you
wants.
beat death. Anyway,
Moving
no
on.
more
Warmed
semantics,
over.
guys.
Moving on. Kirito.
And now you know.
Despite Klein's objections, Kirito goes, "Hey, I was going to go public with the map anyway. Here you go." And he gives them the information.
Yeah.
And they turn around to leave, and that's exactly what, people keep saying is, "Hey, wait, you can't. Please tell me you're not going to take on the boss right now."
Yeah.
And they just completely disregard his warnings, and they charge right ahead. Meanwhile, Klein and Kirito and Asuna, they decide to, keep an eye on them, essentially. And so they tail behind them a little bit. And that's when we get a moment between Klein and Asuna. And Klein's like, "Look, I know he's a jerk. He's not great with people. He's addicted to combat. He's got some issues. Yeah. But deep down, he's a really good guy. Please take care of him for me."
It was
Yeah.
it's like the mother of a son or something like that. Please take care of him for me. There's nothing else I can do. He won't let me help.
He doesn't love me anymore. He's chosen
He
you.
literally he goes from like the scorned lover to the mother like figure. I love Klein.
Klein's
He's
all
just-
over
my
the place.
blessing.
He's
So
over
great.
there.
Yeah.
Klein approves of Asuna. Oh, that's
Klein
so
is
sweet.
a good person, and people say nice things about him.
Aw.
Or they better. You hear me, fandom?
Yeah, I love Klein. And especially after a moment like this. It's just like, that's why I love him as a character.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're clearing some more enemies, and, they're killing more lizard men. And they kind of wonder, they lost track of the group. They're like, they probably teleported out okay, right? I mean, they know better. And then sure enough, almost on cue, they start to hear terrified screams, and Asuna and Kirito take off to go and see the source of the horrible screams of agony. And
Leaving Klein and his guild behind to deal with the respawning lizard men. Yes. Thanks, guys.
And as they make it back to the boss room, they see that these troops are not faring well against
They're
the
trapped.
Gleam Eyes. Yeah.
They are trapped.
Because the boss is blocking the exit, and their teleportation crystals won't work. And that's when we have Kirito flashing back to the Red-Nosed Reindeer episodes and the exact same trap that he and his guild were stuck in.
Once again, because someone didn't listen to reason and ran in. Just saying, there's a pattern here.
It's a
Leroy!
Did he just go in? Just go.
Spawning everywhere.
At least I have my chicken.
That's probably what happened. It was just one guy in their guild who just
Well,
ran
that's
in
exactly
there.
what happens in this episode.
Oh my
This
god.
is why Steven needs to, like, I love everyone who works here, but this is why Steven needs to engineer this show.
Yes.
Thank you, Steven. Oh, that was wonderful. But yeah, so they see that, you know, the Aincrad Liberation Army, they're getting their butts handed to them, essentially. And that's when we see Kobats get knocked out of the boss room, actually. And we see his armor split. And we have this terrible moment right before he dies where just tears are welling in his eyes. And he's like, I can't believe it. And he shatters. And
Yeah, that's different.
Well, I forget what he said in the Japanese. It's something along the lines of, like, I can't believe it. Or
this
yeah,
is,
that's
I think it was This Is Impossible.
yeah,
or
this is
something
impossible.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean,
baby.
granted, he was an idiot, but like that, it's a little different to say, oh, that guy deserved to die, and it's a little different to be staring him in the face as tears are welling in his eyes, going
Right.
like, oh,
And now
this
that you
isn't-
actually, and
You've
it
met with a terrible fate, haven't you?
Well,
Yeah.
it gives him, it humanizes the character a little bit more because before, you know, you couldn't, their face was shrouded in mystery. There was that shadow over the eyes, as
Yeah.
anime characters do, like freaking
Right.
Ash Ketchum every time he freaking cried.
anytime he puts his hat down.
Why did you get rid of all the freaking Pokemon? Butterfree, just
That's a discussion for another day.
That's someone
It'll
else's
be okay.
trauma.
It
It'll be
humanizes.
okay.
I rewatched it recently, and I'm just getting
It's on
very
Netflix,
angry.
yeah.
I know. But anyway, no, but like it gave the character you connect with him a little bit. Like, okay, this is a human being, thus it's drawn. But I mean, it's you know,
Yeah.
you get to feel bad for the guy.
This is somebody who's about to die.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is somebody who cuts onions about as well as I do.
Oh, Steven.
Not as funny.
But anyway, so Asuna, she sees that these troops are not faring well. It's not going to be long. You know, another one of them is about to get smacked by this giant sword. And that's when Asuna, she can't take it anymore. She just runs in and gets off a couple really good hits on the creature while it has its back turned. But it turns around and it smacks her across the room. And it's getting ready to slice her in half when Kirito jumps in and he parries it. I think that's
Yeah, he
parries
parries
it.
it, yeah.
He parries it.
And then Klein comes running in after him. What the hell?
I love that he said that. He just shrugs, what the hell? We're probably going to die, but let's go for it anyway.
Yeah.
I like, and then basically we know something's up, and we know this is the whole foreshadowing over lunchtime again because he's like, I need you guys to distract it for like give
For,
me
like,
next
10
seconds.
Right.
Once
And-
he's realizing that his one sword technique is not working, and he takes a pretty solid
Not
hit
that even
from the boss.
not
Yeah.
even that it wouldn't work or that it's not working. It's just that that's what everybody else is
Well,
doing. There has
what
to be
he
something else done
realizes
here.
is that with his friends on the line and with all these people on the line, he can't afford to pull his punches anymore.
Yeah.
And so Klein rushes the creature. He gets knocked aside. Asuna takes it on and is fighting it for a minute. And then Kirito yells out, switch! And so she falls back and he comes forward. And what does he do? He pulls out Dark Repulsor, and it's this special dual-wielding skill. And everyone is just blown away like, what is happening right now? Because
Yeah.
he's fighting the creature with two swords.
Faster!
And he's slicing
Gotta
at
go
it.
fast.
So
And
many
it's
that's what
slicing at him.
So many that's what she said jokes
Well-
this episode.
Yeah. I was making Sonic jokes.
Oh.
He's slicing at it, and
Right.
it's slicing at him and hitting him.
Yeah. Mhm.
And
Or
he's
he's getting-
just like, I have to go faster. And he just, you know, their sword thrusts are going faster and faster. I know. I realized that. It wasn't a good way to say it.
And I'm trying to be good about it, but no, then you have to say that.
I know.
He
I
basically
know.
goes into crazy berserker mode and slices the
Kirito
boss
hit his
into
limit
pieces.
break,
Yeah,
essentially.
Kirito
basically.
hit his limit break.
Kirito
and
hit
he's
his-
like, okay, is
Up
it
until-
over? And then collapses.
Yeah. Yeah, and so
many hit
I'm still laughing
Yeah.
because it reminded me. I think wasn't it during the last boss battle though that it was like congratulations, just
Yeah,
one.
and
Now,
and
yes,
just
lots
one.
of congratulations.
They said that this
and
time you
two
got a lot of
exclamation
them.
points.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, just one.
So,
Congratulations.
well, because there was only
One floor.
One floor. Yes, but this one didn't say congratulations 74 times.
yeah.
But anyway, so So Kirito wakes up, but in a moment, Asuna is calling his name, but he sees Sachi at first, which is just like
Kirito almost walked into the light.
I just realized that.
Yeah, that was Sachi.
Because I was watching
almost stepped into the light.
Because I was watching it, and I'm like, why has she got dark hair? Is it just the shadows? Like, I didn't get...
No,
and
was
I thought
Sachi.
it was his sister.
Oh,
like she's in the real world, like
he's
calling
waking
his
up in the-
name.
yeah.
In the
That'd be
hospital.
cool.
Wow, that would be cool.
I thought it was
That would have been
his
cool too. But
could be
it looked
either. I
like-
didn't get a good
It
look.
looked like Sachi. I don't recall. I don't
could be
Yeah,
know
I
what his
believe it
sister
was
looks
Sachi.
like, but it
His
looks like
sister
Sachi.
has shorter hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
She bald? Sachi's pretty freaking short hair.
But the hair was
Anyway,
down past her shoulders. Anyway.
guys, moving on. Anyway, so Asuna hugs him and she's like, "You're such an idiot," and he's kind of like, "Oh, careful," because he only has like 2 HP
You might
left.
hug the rest of my HP out of me.
Which would have been hilarious.
It would have been
but
terrible if she had dove to hug him and it not.
Exploded.
It would have made for a very different
very
series.
Kingdom Hearts.
But
Extremely Kingdom Hearts.
it would have been. But
Not
so
that dual wielding isn't extremely
everybody's
Kingdom Hearts.
questioning him, like, where did that come from? And he just says that it just appeared in his inventory one day in his skill sets. He's like, I have no idea where it came from, and I don't know what the prerequisites are. And I knew if I told anyone that everybody would be, people would be jealous, because sometimes online gamers can be jerks. If you have something not players like Klein, but there are people out there who will be jerks about it, who will intentionally be jerks.
Well, I'm thinking the prerequisite to that skill
That's
is
just the
shonen
internet.
protagonist.
Probably. But it explains why he was looking for a sword that was as powerful, if not more powerful, than Elucidator. So it explains why he would go into Liz's shop in the first place. So we know that he probably had this skill when he walked into her shop. Anyway, so they all part ways, and it's the next day, and word has gotten out about this amazing skill. But sorry, to go back a little bit, Asuna says that she's going to take a leave of absence from the guild, and because they're party members, and she, this is Kirito as closest to death as we've ever seen him, and she can't bear the thought of him dying and her standing back and doing nothing.
Obviously, he's going to get himself murdered if she isn't there. This is what she thinks, despite the fact that he has survived this long.
But also-
watching him nearly die.
But it was also like, that's what was so funny, because he was even like, you're the one that ran in first.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think it was her first time seeing him as like a vulnerable player,
Yeah.
because like up until now, he's gotten along by himself, and they've fought together a little bit but like now
The first real time he was all like badass, but like, I'm a beater.
And I think him being this close to death has made her realize how important he is to her, how important he's become to her. So the next day, he's hanging out at Agiel's shop. Information brokers and all these different sword wielders have hounded him, begging to find out how he became a dual wielder. And he's like, I need to find a new place to live.
He's going to move in with Asuna. That's my prediction. He's going to move in with Asuna.
Probably. It'd be a good place for a cover.
very
Anyway,
pragmatic.
So, nice.
You said it
well
was
played.
plastic.
But so that's when Elizabeth comes in and she's like, "Well, we were going to keep it a secret, but then you went and blabbed it to everybody."
Yeah.
It was
I was
really.
saving people's lives.
I thought it was a cute moment that she was teasing him. But then Asuna comes back in and she's like, "We have a problem," and jump to floor 55, which is the Knights of the Blood Oath headquarters, and we have Heathcliff, who is the head. He's the only person above Asuna in this guild. If the Knights of the Blood Oath are the most powerful guild in the game, then he is essentially the most. I don't think he's the highest level player in the game, but politically speaking, he's the most powerful player in the game.
Right.
Which is very interesting. And he basically tells Kirito that, look, if you want to take our second in command, you're going to have to fight me for her. Which, it's a very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on the intricacies of guild politics, but I would think that if you just say, "Hey guys, I'm out. I'm dissolving this party," that would be it.
I'm gonna pitch in.
is.
I'm gonna pitch in before Katie explodes, because I know exactly why she's like imploding. Okay, it's the whole fact of like, okay, well, it's her decision, it's her choice. She is a very strong player herself, so it's like, She's the one saying, hey, peace out, I'm bouncing out. If you want to fight anybody for it, why don't you just fight her? But let's also take into consideration that he is the main character, so of course we have to have that scene of, you know, the traditional fighting for the woman, which is why basically Katie and I are rolling our eyes. And the thing that irritates us.
I think we're all rolling our eyes a little.
I'm doing a little more than that.
Yes.
Well,
she's kicking me under the table.
I can't reach. Do you
It's too
see
far.
how wide this
It's too
table
far to
is?
even fist bump. We can't kick that far.
We could try.
No, it's too far.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, but the explanation, the discussion in general too, it's like Asuna wasn't even acknowledged in this discussion, and you could argue that like she had made her case before coming to Kirito, and that's why Heathcliff was addressing Kirito. But like he didn't, he gave a non-apology for Kuradil for one, and
I'm
again,
sorry for any issues you may have experienced with him. Not I'm sorry for picking a terrible bodyguard. Not I'm sorry it's a creep. Not I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. It's I'm sorry if you experienced any issues.
Right.
It's like I'm sorry if you were offended. No.
Yeah.
We also have to take into consideration, though, from what you guys don't know, the reason they have to fight is going to become a bigger issue several episodes down the line.
okay,
as we
so
reach
it's
the second episode.
it's not
It
it's
is a
less
very-
about Asuna and
it's
more about
less-
something that we have let.
Yes, it's a little
Yeah.
bit, but I mean, it's definitely got to be part of like, okay, traditional. Oh, I'm going to fight for my woman kind of thing that they have in a lot of stories.
But there's more going
Also
on than
because
meets the
he's-
eye.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm
They
just
still could have accomplished it with Asuna doing the fighting, though.
No,
but still.
yes, it's true.
It's still
he's the
maddening
main
for
character.
that to be the excuse.
Well,
for
again,
her
just
to
with,
not have a say
with
in
the
her own
comments
fate.
our YouTube viewers have been leaving, and it's very foreboding as a viewer, not in terms of like the story, but it's very foreboding in terms of what they do with Asuna's character, and I don't like that. And I don't think any of us like that. We still enjoy the show,
Yes.
but we don't like where this is going.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
I'm going to watch some Sailor Moon Crystal, and I'm just like,
Oh yes! Speaking of new shows that have aired online, not only has Sailor Moon Crystal officially premiered, but Gun Gale Online premiered a couple nights ago.
At Anime Expo, you would not believe the number of Kirito and Asuna cosplayers that I saw. One Klein.
So that's really exciting that that's airing right now. I really wish we were further in the series because I don't want to, I want to be authentic as we go through this podcast. So I think I'm going to hold off on watching it. Are you guys going to be watching it?
I mean, I would imagine we'd have to watch more in order to like understand what the hell's going on. So I'm going to say
true.
I'm probably going to have to wait a
But
little bit.
Tari's seen all the way through.
Yes, so I'm going to be watching the
All
crap
right.
out of that.
Let us know how it is, but don't give anything away.
No, of course not.
All right. Thank you guys. That basically wraps it up. We went way over time. Sorry about that. Katie, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I'm also on the Attack on Titan panel and the upcoming Ruby panel.
Yay! That'll be fun.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Liz.
Hi everyone, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Mawy, that's LIZZYMAWY. You can also find me later on tonight on the Musketeers panel, and you can also find me on Dominion on Thursdays with my buddy Tauri here.
Yeah.
Tari.
You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ, that's TaurijAY. You can also catch me on the Extant panel on Wednesdays and Dominion on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And I'm Megan. You can find me on Twitter at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on the Attack on Titan panel here on Sunday nights. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Sword Art Online panel. We will see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.